up to the apartment at night.
And why was
She
that?
because Kevin was hiding her, and Charlemagne played a big part of that. Charlemagne had a room, she had a room. I guess if, let's say hypothetically speaking, if Wendy decided to pop up there, I guess Charlemagne would be the one, I'm assuming, that say, "Oh, she's my girl."
A lot of people have been asking what really became of Sharina Hudson after the dramatic fallout involving Kevin Hunter and Wendy Williams. For a while, she seemed to completely vanish from the spotlight, but now she's resurfaced, and the situation is even more intense than before. Recent claims suggest that Sharina is pointing fingers at Wendy, allegedly blaming her for a TJ Maxx lawsuit that spiraled into serious financial trouble and ultimately led to her downfall. But that's not all. New reports are painting an even more shocking picture. It's being said that after things turned sour with Kevin Hunter, Sharina is now expressing regret and is reportedly reaching out to Wendy, asking for help. On top of that, there are whispers that she may be holding on to sensitive information, evidence that could potentially create major problems for Kevin. And if you've been following this saga closely, you already know that Kevin's sister, Kim, has been one of the key voices spilling details and adding even more layers to this unfolding drama.
I am hearing that her ex-husband Kevin and Sharina are no longer together, and you know what that is.
Well, come on now.
The money gone.
But guess what?
And just when you thought the drama couldn't get any deeper, Kevin Hunter reportedly stepped in with his own version of events, claiming he was actually the one who ended things with Sharina Hudson. Not the other way around like many people believed, and that her sudden disappearance was a direct result of that breakup. A twist that makes the whole situation even more ironic and leaves many imagining Wendy Williams quietly enjoying how everything played out. But looking closer at the situation, it's hard to ignore that Sharina had been living a lavish lifestyle largely funded by Wendy's money from the very beginning, something she appeared completely comfortable with, as Kevin allegedly used Wendy's finances to support her through massage therapy school, then set her up with a mall kiosk in North Carolina when that didn't work out, later helping her launch an online jewelry and clothing brand called Vish, and even backing her brief move into real estate using a Morristown home he purchased for her with Wendy's money, before she ventured into a vegan business in 2021 making pancakes in a kitchen funded the same way, all while reportedly pushing Kevin to leave Wendy for her, which wasn't realistic since his entire income depended on Wendy and her show, meaning he couldn't sustain that lifestyle on his own. And even after the divorce, any legal commitment between Kevin and Sharina could have risked cutting off his financial ties completely. So things remained unofficial, until the money stopped flowing, at which point everything began to collapse as Kevin took Wendy to court claiming his alimony payments ended in February 2022 and even asked the court to force her guardian to continue paying, while also revealing he had no health insurance and needed hip surgery he couldn't afford, living in constant pain. And from there his situation only worsened as he put his $1.3 million home up for sale, took out loans on luxury cars through Flex Wealth, and got hit with a lawsuit from UBS Bank for allegedly failing to pay his credit card debt tied to a Visa signature account he opened in 2014, ultimately leaving him financially strained and unstable. And as everything unraveled, Sharina reportedly walked away, proving that once the money was gone, so was she. But here's where things take another unexpected turn, because now Kevin Hunter is reportedly stepping forward with a completely different story, insisting that he was actually the one who ended things with Sharina Hudson, not the version the public has been running with. While many assumed she disappeared the moment the alimony check stopped, Kevin is flipping that narrative, suggesting he's the one who walked away, which supposedly explains her sudden silence. But let's really think about that. Why make that claim now? From the outside looking in, it feels less like truth-telling and more like a last-minute attempt to rewrite the narrative and escape the karma that people believe has been catching up with him for years. Ever since those 2024 reports surfaced claiming Sharina left him as soon as the money dried up, Kevin has been facing non-stop criticism and embarrassment, and this new version of events seems like a strategic move to regain control and protect his image. Instead of being seen as someone who was used and discarded, he's trying to present himself as the one still calling the shots. But there may be more to it, because rumors have also been swirling that Sharina could be a serious liability, with whispers that she might expose behind-the-scenes secrets from Kevin's time connected to the Wendy Williams show. If that's the case, positioning her as unstable or bitter could be a calculated way to discredit anything she might reveal in the future. And let's be honest, admitting she left because the money ran out would mean admitting defeat, but claiming he ended it allows him to frame the situation as a personal decision instead of financial collapse. Now, adding even more fuel to the fire is Kevin's own sister, Kim, who isn't buying his version at all and believes he's clearly trying to spin the story in his favor. According to her, she knows Kevin better than most and has long understood the patterns behind his behavior, even sharing a deeply personal backstory about how they grew up believing they had the same father, only for her to later discover that Kevin's biological father was actually a man named Sylvester, who had been introduced as his godfather. When Kevin learned the truth in his late 30s, it reportedly caused deep resentment toward their mother and changed him significantly, straining their relationship. Kim also revealed that Kevin distanced himself from their mother, partly because he felt Wendy Williams' family looked down on them, even going as far as buying a separate condo for his mother and Kim to avoid interactions during holidays. She shared that their mother now suffers from dementia and lives in a nursing home, and shockingly, Kevin has only visited her a couple of times over the years, leaving Kim to struggle on her own, at one point even pawning her jewelry just to provide basic necessities, while Kevin was allegedly spending freely on his mistress. Speaking on Kevin and Wendy's marriage, Kim recalled witnessing troubling moments firsthand, including an incident at a comedy club where Kevin publicly belittled Wendy, calling her drunk and restricting her from speaking to business partners because he was her manager, even though, according to Kim, Wendy was sober and visibly hurt, something she says had been happening for years. And when it comes to Sharina, Kim claimed that in the beginning, she was kept completely hidden, allegedly living out of her car and only allowed to visit the condo Kevin provided under the cover of night, adding yet another layer of secrecy and complexity to an already explosive situation. And just when you think the story couldn't get any more shocking, Kim dropped another bombshell, claiming that Charlemagne the God was allegedly involved in helping keep Sharina hidden from Wendy, even stepping in as a cover whenever Wendy might show up unexpectedly at the condo, which is wild considering he publicly presented himself as one of Wendy's closest allies. But eventually, the truth couldn't stay buried forever, and Wendy found out about the affair that had reportedly been going on for years. According to Kim, Sharina was determined to avoid going back to her hometown at all costs, which is why she held tightly onto Kevin. But the moment the money dried up and the alimony stopped, that attachment quickly disappeared because there was nothing left to hold on to, a move that didn't just stir public backlash but also deeply disappointed her own family, who believed she played a major role in Wendy's marriage, with her uncle even stating in an interview that she should have known better and taken responsibility for her actions, adding that she had distanced herself from her South Carolina roots for years and rarely even showed up for family gatherings. And in a twist that feels straight out of Karma's playbook, after everything fell apart, Sharina reportedly had no choice but to return to her mother's home, a full-circle moment that many see as consequences catching up in real time. Meanwhile, Kim continues to insist that Kevin's recent claims are nothing more than an ego-driven attempt to rewrite the narrative, reminding everyone that she once compared her own brother to Suge Knight, describing him as intimidating and feared back home, which explains why he's so desperate to maintain that powerful image, even as reality paints a very different picture with him reportedly struggling and even seeking to have his alimony payments reinstated. And regardless of who actually ended the relationship, one thing is clear: Kevin is now on his own. But the drama is far from over, because insiders are saying Sharina might be gearing up for a comeback, allegedly reaching out to Wendy Williams herself for financial help after her fallout with Kevin, claiming she was left in a tough situation, especially with concerns about support for their daughter, though many doubt Wendy would even consider stepping in, making the entire situation feel like a dramatic unraveling where karma, consequences, and unfinished business are all colliding at once.